Hi guys, and this is another video on getting started with Scratch and how to learn simple game development. So this time we're going to focus a little bit more on movement, turning, as well as go towards looks and other things that we might want to do in the future. So what we're going to start with is what we did last time, with moving the character with your arrow keys, which here we have from last time. When you press the button, if you move up, it'll move up. If you press the down arrow, it'll go down. When you press the right arrow, it'll go right. And when you press the left arrow, the character will go left. So that is what we have right now, and that's what we did last time. And in order to do this, you just have to have the when key pressed and the change X or Y. X means side to side, Y means up and down. So in order to change Y up, you make it 10. When you make it down, you make it minus 10. And then for right, you make it plus 10 or just 10. And left, you make it minus 10. So when we move our character, it moves pretty slowly. So if we want to move it faster or even slower, you would have to change this number. So let's say I want to make it faster when he moves to the right. So if I want to make it faster, I change it to a bigger number like 20. So I press it, and now he moves a lot more. If you move back, you move a lot more to the front. But let's say I want to make the left slower. You can change this to a smaller number like 5. And you can see I move him a lot this way and almost nothing backwards or to the left. So now I'm going to just make all of these 20s, since I like making them even, since it's much easier to work with when you're moving evenly. And even though you change the numbers for the down and left sides, you still have to have the minus in front of them. So now they'll move a lot faster and a lot more. But now when we move our characters and we move it back, the character looks like it's just walking back. So what if we want to make the character actually face the other way when they move back? That's where the turn comes in. So we're going to look at the turn here where it says direction 90. You're going to click it. If you put this to the other way, it'll make the character upside down, which isn't what we want to do. So we can put it back to normal 90. And we'll leave it at 90. And we want to go to this one, which is going to flip the character over to the other side. So we have it at 90 here when the right key is pressed. So to take a look, we want to put the character at -90 when the other key is pressed. If you see that, when you press the left key, we want this one, and when we press the right key, we want this one. So how are we going to do this in the code? That's where this block comes in, the point in direction block. So what you're going to do is drag it right above the change X, but right below the when right arrow pressed, and bring another one below the when left arrow pressed, but above the change X. This one will point it in 90, which is this way that it's currently pointed. This one will also point it in 90, so we need to change it to a -90, which will look at it this way, just like that one shows. So now to do this, we can test it. You move this way, it'll point that way. You move the other way, it'll flip and move. It'll flip again, and up and down stay the same. Because you can still move through the thing like this, but when you're moving side to side, it'll look weird if it's just walking back. So you have all of these movements here. Now, what if we want our character to say something when we do something else? Or we want to make our character bigger or smaller. So let's say every time I want to press my Z key, we will have my character say hello. So you scroll down, you click Z, and now we go to the Looks tab. In the Looks tab, it will say hello, and then for 2 seconds. If we put this one, it'll stay up forever. We just want to let it go away in 2 seconds. So let's try this out. So you can still move your character, and now when you press C, hello shows up on the little speech bubble. You can do it again too, and over and over. So now, what if I want to make my character bigger or smaller? Let's say when I press the X key, I want my character to grow. So we'll go back to looks, we'll do change size by 10 when X key pressed. Let's try this again. You can do all your other things like move, you can say hello, and now when you press X, it'll grow bigger. You press it again, it'll grow bigger. And you can keep going. But now what if I want to make my character smaller? Let's make this C. So we'll go back to events, we'll do when C key pressed, we'll go back to looks, and we'll change size by -10. So now let's do this. We'll move around. We can say hello. When we press X, the character grows bigger, and when we press C, the character grows smaller. Smaller and smaller and smaller, again and again. You can make them bigger, or you can make them smaller. And just like what we did with movements, if that's small, you can make it bigger and smaller by editing these numbers, as long as you keep the minus on the smaller side and nothing on the bigger side. So we do this, now the character goes bigger faster and smaller faster. The same thing works if we want to make it slower. When you made the 5 instead of the 10, which is smaller than 10. So when I press X, it'll only grow a little bit, but it'll shrink a lot. I'm going to put this back to 20 to make them the same, since that's pretty nice to do for consistency. So now we have our character moving up and down, side to side, and they're turning. And when you press, they can say hello. And when we press X, they get bigger. And press C, they get smaller. So we can make them bigger, 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 smaller, 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 and move them around. And that concludes it for this tutorial. I've showed you how to make characters bigger, smaller, how to have characters say things, all when you press different keys, so you can do it as many times as you want in the same game. And we learned about characters and turning them so that it looks nice in a game. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.